Good morning, all of you. So, today we are going to do your third topic, that is the Nazi worldview. So, what was their perception? क्या वो सोचते थे? कैसा उनके according world होना चाहिए था? What is an ideal world according to them? According to the people who were followers of Hitler or who belonged to the Nazi party, who strongly believed in Nazi ideologies. ठीक है, उनकी क्या perception थी world के बारे में? Today we are going to read that. The crimes that Nazi committed were linked to a system of belief and set of practices. So the crimes, you can hear the word crime is used for the killings that they did. You can say a massacre. Basically, that was a mass killing that they performed. So all these crimes that they performed had a लिंक विथ सेट ऑफ बिलीव्स. उनकी ये मानसिकता थी, उनकी ये सोच थी. दिस इज हाउ दे फेल्ट, दिस इज हाउ दे कंसिडर्ड वर्ल्ड टू बी. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट दे स्टार्टेड डूइंग ऑल दिस क्राइम. Nazi ideology was synonym with Hitler's worldview. According to this, there was no equality between people, but only a racial hierarchy. So what Nazi people, or you can say the Nazi views, were synonym of Hitler's worldview. जैसा हिटलर सोचता था बिल्कुल सेम नाजीज का थॉट्स था, because they were guided by the perception of Hitler. So their views were very similar to that of Hitler. So according to him, Hitler, he strongly believed that equality नाम का कुछ नहीं होता है, सब बराबर नहीं होते हैं. Rather there is a racial hierarchy. Racial hierarchy का मतलब होता है division in the society as upper and lower. So people who are upper, their kids will enjoy the same privilege, whereas the people who are lower, their kids will undergo the same disadvantage. Okay, so this was how Hitler believed. He never believed in equality. वो कभी नहीं believe करता था that सब बराबर है. He felt that कुछ लोग supreme है और कुछ लोग inferior है. In this view, blue eyes Nordic German Aryans were at the top, while Jews were located at the lowest rungs. So what he felt that blue eyes Nordic Germans जो थे, fair skin Germans जो थे, वो सबसे supreme race थे. वो ये जो racial hierarchy है, ladder like formation है society का, उसमें सबसे ऊपर जो है वो blue eyes Nordic German है, और सबसे lower condition पे या सबसे lower step पे हैं Jews. Okay, Jews are the people, एक तरह के ये भी society के part है. Jews are very different to Germans, not in their physical appearance but in their religion they follow. ठीक है, ये अलग लोग होते हैं. जैसे कैसे हमारे में आदिवासी होते हैं, वैसे ये Jews होते हैं. Okay, now they came to be regarded as an anti-race, the arch enemy of Aryans. All other colored people were placed in between depending upon their external features. So what happened now? टॉप में थे ब्लू आइज नॉर्डिक जर्मन और लोअर स्टार्टा में थे ज्यूज. ज्यूज को वो हमेशा एंटी रेस बोलते थे दैट दे आर द इम्प्योर रेस. और वो जिससे बात करेंगे, वो जिसके साथ रहेंगे, जिससे मैरिज करेंगे, उन्हें भी वो इम्प्योर कर देंगे. ओके, सो दिस इज हाउ रेशियल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन केम इन जर्मनी. लोग यहाँ पे कलर के बेसिस पे, कास्ट के बेसिस पे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन शुरू कर देते हैं. ओके, एंड रेस्ट ऑल अदर रेसेस लाइक पॉलिश एंड ऑल दीज पीपल वर प्लेस्ड बिटवीन द रेशियल हायरार्की. नाउ Hitler's racism borrowed from the thinker like Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. Darwin was a natural scientist who tried to explain the creation of plants and animals through the concept of evolution and natural selection. So what he used to say, Hitler, वो क्या करता था कि साइंस की थ्योरीज को वो मोल्ड करके लोगों को बताता. अगर ऑल ऑफ अ सडन कोई आपको बोले कि आपका जो नेबर है वो किसी और कास्ट से बिलोंग करता है और वो इम्प्योर है, आप नहीं मानेंगे उस बात को. बट वही बात अगर साइंटिफिकली आपको समझाई जाए, देन यू माइट गेट कन्विंस्ड. सो ही यूज्ड टू डू द सेम. वो साइंटिस्ट के बातों को मोल्ड करके, ट्विस्ट करके, टर्न करके लोगों को समझाता था. सो चार्ल्स डार्विन हु वाज नेचुरल साइंटिस्ट, जो नेचर और प्लांट्स और एनिमल्स के बारे में बताते थे, उनकी बातों को उसने मोल्ड किया था. ओके, now Herbert Spencer later added the idea of survival of the fittest. So Herbert Spencer, what did he say? Survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest is the jungle rule. जो सबसे strong होता है वो survive करता है. Okay, that means you need to fight, you need to struggle. ओके टू सर्वाइव इन जंगल. जंगल का राजा शेर क्यों होता है? बिकॉज ही इज द फिटेस्ट. सो इन that does not mean that lion gets the right to kill everybody. Okay, but rather you have to fight for your. ऐसा तो नहीं होता कि डियर के और अगर लायन बढ़ रहा है then deer submits itself, surrenders itself. No, it struggles to fight. Okay, and at times it is successful in fighting. So same what this was what the scientist meant, that survival of fittest means you need to be very strong to protect yourself. Now look how he molded this entire thing. According to this idea, only those species survived on Earth that could adapt themselves to the changing climatic condition. We should bear in mind that Darwin never advocated human intervention in what he thought was purely natural process of selection. So when Darwin said this, he never said this that agar plant nahi survive kar pa rahe hain to unhe kaat do. Human ka interference, he never promoted that. This whatever logic or whatever theories were given by these scientists, that was purely based or that was only for the plants, or it was based for animals. They never wanted that plant to interfere in human or animal world and animals to interfere in plant world. They never promoted that. But look how Nazis or Hitler misleaded, or you can say molded this statement. However, this idea was used by racist thinkers and politicians to justify imperial rule over conquered people. The Nazi arguments was simple: the strongest race would survive and the weak ones would perish. So this statement, survival of the fittest, को पूरी तरीके से मोल्ड करके उन्होंने क्या प्रेजेंट किया, दैट जो स्ट्रांग होगा उसे सर्वाइव करना चाहिए और जो वीक है दे शुड perish. Okay, weak should perish means after a certain time weak should submit themselves to the one who is supreme. Now Nazi argument was simple: the strongest race would survive. So survival, that means they promoted survival of blue-eyed Nordic German, and the weak ones would perish. So Jews, Gypsies, Polish, these were the people whom they considered as non-desirable or anti-race. So they said that these people should either surrender themselves or the supreme race should be given authority to kill them or murder them. The Aryan race was the finest. It has it had to retain its purity, become strong, and dominate the world. So what he said, that Aryan race jo the, they were the pure race, and they should get they should get back their dominance, and they should retain its purity. That means purity, according to them, the meaning of purity was that they should torture the people who are below them. According to the Nazis, who were considered as the anti-race, they should torture them. They should not keep any relationship with them. The girls should not marry Jews or Polish or Gypsy boys. So all this was their perception. The other aspect of Hitler's ideology related to the geopolitical concept of Lebensraum or living space. He believed that new territory has to be occupied for settlement. This would enhance the area of the mother country, while enable the settlers on new lands to retain an intimate link with the people of their origin. It would also enhance the material resource and power of German nation. So Hitler strongly believed that in conquering or bringing more territories under his control, he felt that ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा territory जो है वो capture करनी चाहिए. New places should be given. नए जगहों पे Germans को खुद को establish करना चाहिए. New links बनाने चाहिए. नई places को explore करना चाहिए. And new places means addition in the resources. Hitler intended to extend German boundaries by moving eastward to concentrate all German geographically in one place. Poland became the laboratory for this experimentation. So Hitler started extending his boundary, अपनी boundary वो eastward बढ़ाने लगा और सबसे पहले उसने पोलैंड को कैप्चर किया और पोलैंड से उसने स्टार्ट किया अपनी जितनी भी थॉट्स थी, जितनी भी हिटलर की एक्सपेरिमेंटल आइडियाज थी, वो सारी उन्होंने यहीं से पोलैंड से शुरू की. नाउ establishment of racial state is your next topic, that is establishment of racial state. Once in power, the Nazi quickly began to implement their dream of creating an exclusive racial community of pure German by physically eliminating all those who were seen as undesirable in extended empire. So they started the moment they got political control, Nazi party got the political control. सबसे पहले उन्होंने क्या किया, वो एलिमिनेट करने लगे अपने कॉम्पिटिशन्स को, ठीक है. बाकी एंटी रेसेस, पहले उन्होंने उन लोगों को एंटी रेस बोला, फिर उन्होंने उन लोगों को अनडिजायरेबल बोला, एंड देन दे स्टार्टेड एलिमिनेटिंग देम फिजिकली. गवर्नमेंट जॉब से हटाने लगे, उनकी फैसिलिटीज, बेसिक सिविक फैसिलिटीज जो दी जाती है वो कम करने लगे. दैट मीन्स इन अ वे दे स्टार्टेड टॉर्चरिंग ऑल अदर एक्सेप्ट द ब्लू आइज नॉर्डिक जर्मन्स. Nazis wanted only a society of pure and healthy Nordic Aryans. They alone were considered desirable. Only they were seen as worth of prospering and multiplying against all others who were classed as undesirable. This meant that even those Germans who were seen as impure or abnormal had no right to exist. Under the euthanasia program, Helmut's father, along with other Nazi officials, had condemned to kill many Germans who were considered mentally and physically unfit. So now what happened? So, just imagine the level of cruelty. That it was not, their cruelty was not limited to only अनडिजायरेबल रेसेस, बट इवन द ब्लू आइज नॉर्डिक जर्मन, जिसे वो डिजायरेबल मानते थे, अगर उन लोगों में भी कोई मेंटली या फिजिकली अनफिट रहता था, हैंडीकैप रहता था या मेंटली रिटार्डेड रहता था, उस पर्सन को भी वो अनडिजायरेबल मानते थे. दिस टू कंसिडर देम इवन एज अनडिजायरेबल. एंड रिमेंबर हेलमत फादर वॉज वन हु हैड बीन और हु हैड प्लेड अ मेजर रोल इन किलिंग और दीज पीपल, डेथ ऑफ दीज मेंटली एंड फिजिकली अनफिट पीपल. खुद के लोगों के मर्डर में वो इन्वॉल्व थे. दिस वाज द रीजन व्हाई विद द डाउनफॉल ऑफ हिटलर ही हैड दिस फियर. ही न्यू अबाउट हिज क्राइम, सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस फियर ही कमिटेड सुसाइड. Okay, now Jews were not the only community classified as undesirable. There were many others. Many gypsies and the black living in Nazi Germany were considered as racially inferior, who threatened the biological purity of the superior Aryan race. So it was not that Hitler was only against Jews. He was against gypsies as well. Okay, he wanted only blue eyes Nordic German. Rest all the races he termed as threat to the superior Aryan race. He felt that अगर ये लोग exist करेंगे तो ये एक threat होगा Aryan race की purity के लिए. Okay, this was only his insane idea. It was not that he was doing something sane. That was only his strong hatred for others that made him do so. This is the reason why he is termed as the most cruel dictator who ever existed in the world. Okay, now they were widely persecuted. Even Russians, Poles were considered subhuman and hence undeserving for any humanity. When Germany occupied Poland and parts of Russia, captured civilians were forced to work as slave laborers. Many of them died simply through hard work and starvation. So, imagine इन लोगों ने पोलैंड को कैप्चर कर लिया, पोल्स को, वहां के लोगों को कैप्चर कर लिया, और उसके बाद व्हाट दे स्टार्टेड डूइंग इज दे स्टार्टेड टॉर्चरिंग देम. उनके खुद के लैंड पे उन्हें लेबरर्स की तरह वर्क कराने लगे. एंड द कंडीशंस वर सो एक्सट्रीम दैट देयर वर मेनी पीपल जो अपने ही कंट्री में out of hunger, out of starvation, they lost their life. Jews remained the worst sufferers in Nazi Germany. So who were the worst sufferers? Polish, gypsies, they were tortured. But the worst sufferers जिनके साथ सबसे ज्यादा torture किया जाता था वो थे Jews. Nazi hatred of Jews had precaution in traditional Christian hostility towards the Jews. Okay. सो जितनी भी नाजी की हेटरेट थी अब वो रिलीजियसली भी दिखने लगी थी. दे हैड बीन स्टीरियोटाइप्ड एज किलर ऑफ क्रिश्चियनिटी एंड usurers. Okay, so they were termed as the जो क्रिश्चियनिटी रिलीजन थी उसकी किलर्स, क्राइस्ट की किलर्स उन्हें बिलीव किया, वो बिलीव करने लगे दैट जीसस क्राइस्ट को इन्होंने ही मारा था. ओके, वो ऑफन दे वर यूज, दीज थिंग्स वर यूज एज द टर्म्स ऑफ अब्यूज, उनको एज अ अब्यूज टर्म्स यूज किया जाने लगा. दैट मीन्स यू नो, अगर आप देखेंगे तो नाजीज जो थे वो ना केवल पॉलिटिकल कंट्रोल ले रहे थे बट रिलीजियसली ऑल्सो दे वर ट्राइंग टू कन्विंस पीपल. साइंटिफिकली उन्होंने बोल दिया कि दैट सर्वाइवल ऑफ फिटेस्ट है, आर्यन रेस जो है वो फिट पीपल है, उन्हें एग्जिस्ट करना चाहिए, ऐसी हमारी साइंस बोलती है. फिर उन्होंने कहा कि ज्यूज जो हैं उन्होंने किल किया है क्राइस्ट को, जीसस क्राइस्ट को, किलर्स ऑफ क्राइस्ट बोल दिए. दैट मीन्स अगेन दे ऑल द क्रिश्चियंस दे टर्न हॉस्टाइल टुवर्ड्स देम. ठीक है, उनके अगेंस्ट जाने लगे. Until medieval time, Jews were barred from owning land. So Jews were barred from owning land. Jews जो थे वो land नहीं खरीद सकते थे. They survived mainly through the trade and money lending. They lived in separate marked areas called gestos. So they used to live, Jews जो थे वो gestos में अलग उनके जगह होते थे जहाँ वो रहते थे. They were often persecuted through periodic organized violence and expulsions from the land. However, Hitler's hatred of Jews were based on pseudo-scientific theory of race, which led the conversation was no solution to the Jewish problem. It could be solved only through their total elimination. So, हिटलर बिलीव्ड इन स्यूडो साइंटिफिक थ्योरी. वो स्यूडो साइंटिफिक थ्योरी में बिलीव करता था. अकॉर्डिंग टू स्यूडो साइंटिफिक थ्योरी और कोई तरीका नहीं था ज्यूज से बदला लेने का या टू गेट रिड ऑफ ज्यूज अदर देन किलिंग देम. ओके, so just imagine the amount of hatred that Hitler had for these Jews. वो कितना ज्यादा उन लोगों को हेट करता था that he strongly believed that कुछ भी solution नहीं है, कोई भी negotiation या किसी भी तरह से बात नहीं की जा सकती है. Only way how they can be treated is by killing them. Okay. Now, from 1933 to 1938, the Nazi terrorized, purged and segregated the Jews. So what they started doing is वो boundaries बनाने लगे. ठीक है, धीरे धीरे वो reduce करने लगे, absolute poverty की तरफ उनको ले जाने लगे. उन्हें ना jobs देते, ना उन्हें खाना दिया जाता और segregation start हो गया. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है कि all of a sudden आप पावर में और बोले कि आप Jews जो है वो देश छोड़ के चले जाए. They created a situation जहां पे ऑटोमेटिकली Jews जो है वो थोड़े दिनों के बाद या तो कंट्री छोड़ के चले जाएंगे और they'll find some ways, or even if they do not do that, they'll be killed by the Nazi party. So he did the same. धीरे धीरे वो टेरिटरी कंट्रोल कर लिया नाजियों ने, उन्हें एक अलग जगहों पे रख दिया, फिर उनसे उनकी सोर्स ऑफ लाइवलीहुड ले ली and they brought them to a situation where they started dying out of starvation. Okay. कंपेलिंग देम टू लीव द कंट्री. और ये सब क्यों किया गया था? उनको कंपेल किया गया था टू लीव द कंट्री, दैट आप देश छोड़ के चले जाओ. एक ऐसा सिचुएशन बनाया जाए जहां ज्यूज ऑटोमेटिकली देश छोड़ के चले जाएं. द नेक्स्ट फेज 1939 टू 1945 एम्ड एट concentrating them in certain areas and eventually killing them in gas chambers in Poland. So Poland, I have said earlier also that Poland became the experimental center. वो laboratory एक तरह से बन गया था नाजी की tortures और नाजी की atrocities का. So first they took away their jobs from them, then they asked them to leave the country, and even when they did not leave the country, then finally what they started doing is they started gassing them, they started sending them to the concentration कैंप. वो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन कैंप में भेजने लगे. गैस चेम्बर्स बनाए गए पोलैंड में जहां उन्हें गैस कर दिया जाता था. लोगों को एक छोटे से रूम में जहां पे कोई विंडोज नहीं थे उसमें छोटे छोटे होल्स होते थे, लोगों को पैक करके उसमें बाहर से बंद कर देते थे और छोटे होल्स से पॉइजनस गैसेस रिलीज कर देते थे. दीज कॉन्सेंट्रेशन कैंप्स हैड यूज्ड टू बी सराउंडेड बाय द लाइव इलेक्ट्रिक वायर्स. अगर किसी तरह से कोई पर्सन जो है वो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन कैंप से निकल भी जाता है, द मोमेंट ही वुड think of escaping, he would get killed. So, this was the atrocity, this was the torture that Hitler did. This is the reason why Helmut's father was so scared with the downfall of Hitler. He knew that torture, you can pretend, but your conscience, your inner soul will always prick you that you are doing something wrong. So Helmut's father knew that the tortures that he has done, he was guilty of it, and as well as he knew that today I have done the torture, tomorrow they'll do same with me. So out of this fear, he committed suicide. So this was all about Nazis and Hitler today. Tomorrow we'll be doing in the next video, I'll teach you the next topic. Thank you.